Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the Jane and Jeremy Show. On this episode, we would like to talk about why would you use a franchise consultant, or why not? So let's start with Jeremy. You want to talk to your experience because it's quite unique in our case that you actually are a franchise owner of multiple brands. So let's start there with just insider knowledge.
Yeah, I think one of the things that certainly you and I bring, Jane, as your franchise is waiting, is that certainly in my case, and we use that with our clients. I've been through that discovery process myself. Certainly made some mistakes, and tried to bring that into the equation when we're thinking through with clients what makes sense for them. Be that defining what helping them define their business model. How important is the role of the owner, employee type, things like that, and really try to bring those things to bear. If you're looking at a franchise on your own, and particularly if you've never owned or operated a business, and let's be clear, it's very different doing that than running a business in a corporate environment. Again, you and I have both done that. I think if you're looking at that on your own, it's often hard. You see the bright shiny light of I can run this business, but often quite hard to really step back and be totally objective on it, I think.
Yeah. And even when it comes to, I think where your experience comes to bear, especially, is the whole real estate process. And people don't realize the time, the sequencing, how to build out a timeline, how the cost will always be more than you believe, how the timeline will be longer than you believe. So, yeah. Let's talk about what happens when you go direct. So let's say you're fooling around on the internet. And first of all, what I always like to say is there is virtually no information of value at all that can be found easily on the internet. Because it's a super arcane selling process. Selling of franchises is very much done the way it was done in the 80s. They don't push out valuable information because their goal, the franchisor's goal, is to find interested and qualified candidates. And then they want to spoon feed you the information in weekly calls. And it's always amazing to me how little can be found on the internet. But let's say you're out there clicking around. What do you think happens when you click on an ad for Amazing Lash and you click on tell me more? Who is it that's going to reach out to you?
Yeah, so it will be one of two people. It'll either be kind of a very seasoned sales rep from the franchisor, and or maybe actually probably an assistant who's going to try to qualify: are you really serious? Do you have money? And are you really are you likely to be a buyer of that business within the next 3 to 4 months? Yep. And if you are, then you'll get the next call will be with that seasoned sales rep. Might even be on that first call, or it could be a franchise consultant or broker who is running an ad for that brand, but really doesn't really necessarily want to talk to you about that brand, wants to talk more generally. Yeah. And you'll get one of those two kind of sales experiences.
Yeah, that's true. And what we always like to tell people is, look, we're not in the business of selling you a franchise. We're in the business of helping you identify A, if it's right for you, and then B, if it is right for you, trying to narrow down that funnel of the right business for you by looking at alignment in 3 areas. We're going to do a market study. We're going to see if that business works in your market. We're, of course, going to do territory checks to see who's available to fit that demographic. We're going to see if it's in your budget, and we're going to see if it's in your wheelhouse. And it would take you a really long time, so many hours on the internet to actually drill down to do that versus us doing it on your behalf in a period of a week. The two of us dive in and we do all of that, and we typically will get all that done within a 7-day period on your behalf. So I would say saving time, saving, I can't tell you how many people have told me they've reached out to franchise XYZ, never to get a response. And we're going to be your independent advisors as you're having multiple sales calls with multiple brands, and being able to do apples to apples comparison. And we teach you and guide you and help you do that. We, of course, help our clients when it comes time to the most important part of the research process, which is to speak to existing franchisees. That's when you find out how much money you can likely make. That's the only time. And that's weeks into the process. And there's a way to get that information. And we know the way to get that information. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think validation with those franchisees is as you say, Jane, it's the most important part of the process. And I think one of the things I found when I was doing that was I got better at it over time because it takes practice. Of you're calling a business owner you've never met, and not out of the blue. You're probably arranging a call. But you're trying to, strike up a rapport quickly, and at the same time, ultimately find out, are they making money? How's their experience been? Share some P&L information with me. And so I think, we'll take you through that, kind of, coach you through that process, help you prepare for those calls.
Yeah, something I was just thinking of, it just occurred to me, and that is, most of the clients that we end up doing placements with did not come in specifically wanting the business they ended up buying, right? They come in thinking they want XYZ, and through a series of conversations and education and us encouraging our people to focus on the business attributes that are most important to them. What is it about that business that attracts you? What attribute are you looking for? Do you want recurring revenue? Do you want to be absent? Do you want to have the ability to easily scale and grow from just a single location and get to $1 million? Or, just an extensive period of profiling that we do. And often when we bring ideas to our customers, our clients, it's not anything that they would have thought of at all. But ultimately, it's exactly what they told us. It hits on all of those burners. So I think just having experts that know what's out there, know the possibilities, and really understand what the potentials are in all of these different industries. We know the good, the bad, and the ugly of every single industry. Challenges with labor, whatever. And by having these conversations, we bring to the table ideas that they just wouldn't have come to on their own. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
No, I think you hit that on the head, Jane. I think the fact that we work with a wide range of industries, across pretty much every sector that franchises, and we have kind of that insider knowledge, whether it's through our networks of consultants, to take kind of feedback if somebody's had a bad experience in a certain business.
Yeah.
And I think bringing that to bear, is probably one of the strengths.
All right, and then finally, just really, we have all kinds of tools and resources at our disposal. We subscribe to software that does market analysis. We subscribe to IBIS research reports, independent rating agencies that sort of give SWOT analysis of all these different industry categories. We, of course, have access to the lenders, because you can't just walk in your local bank and fund your franchise. We have access to CPAs, attorneys, and finally, there's absolutely no cost. I mean, in some industry, I think people have a suspicion that if they work with us, somehow the price is being padded in some way. Um, but I want to assure you that because of the Federal Trade Commission oversight, the franchise fee is the franchise fee. It's not like in real estate where you find the seller and you go and you say, look, if I don't work with my broker, can you shave $50,000 off? That is not the case in our business. You will be paying the franchise fee with or without independent third-party representation or coaching. And so why wouldn't, why wouldn't you want to do it that way, I guess?
Yeah, and I think on that, Jane, I often get asked like, well, why would a franchisor, kind of work with a consultant? Why would they pay, kind of a share of the fee? And I think to me, it's sort of fairly straightforward because I've sort of done that, myself in terms of developing leads for a brand. That from that franchisor perspective, back to where we started this conversation about somebody looking, being out there on online, kind of filling in the form. Franchisors get hundreds and hundreds of those inquiries a month, and the poor person sitting on the other end of that is trying to figure out, the one person in 100 that actually might be a serious candidate for their business. And when we introduce somebody to the franchisor, we've done that pre-screen. We know that the individual is seriously looking for a business. Doesn't mean to say they're going to go ahead, but they're seriously looking for a business. They're qualified financially and professionally. And so when we take somebody to a franchisor, we're bringing them a highly qualified candidate. And that's really why, that system has developed and works, I think.
Right. Well, I think I want to cut it off because there's a lot of distractions going on behind me, but thank you for watching, and follow us on YouTube, Vimeo, or on LinkedIn. And we look forward to talking to you soon.